Body Integrity W, thank you. See, YouTube really loves to... And then I can have this over here. Oh my goodness. Crazy, we'd love to see it. And then I can have YouTube here. Will you move to a new platform now that TikTok will be banned? We'll see if TikTok gets banned. We'll see. Also, y'all forget that it's not getting banned everywhere. I live in the UK. I don't live in America. So while I hate that I will lose the vast majority of my viewership, technically I will still have access to the platform. But anyway, keep on sharing this with people. Send a guest request if you disagree with me. If you don't, you know? Anyway. Why don't you live in America? Because I study in the UK. TikTok won't actually ban for other couple of years in America. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Anyway, let's look at the news. Take us back to the good old days. What am I studying? I'm studying law. Venice becomes first city in Europe to face charge entrance fee. Ooh, what? How much is it? Oh, £5. Slay. Johnny Lee. Let's see. We've spoken before, we're friends. Hello!
What's up, Will? How you feeling, man?
Oh my. Going real well. How about you?
I can't complain. Everything is everything.
Slay. Do you have something specific to say? Otherwise, I'm going to search for people to disagree in general. Hoping and praying.
I feel you. You probably could get into some more interesting ones. I think the only thing we probably disagree on is I'm a Christian, so if you feel like talking about that, we could.
You surely don't think you can prove Christianity to be true.
Can I prove Christianity to be true?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Really?
I believe so. But I think that that's kind of so I can say that because of situations and instances that have happened in my life specifically that may not necessarily relate to you. Does that make any sense?
Oh, like you couldn't provide empirical, repeatable evidence.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I would agree that you probably couldn't.
Oh, you think I probably couldn't
provide repeatable, provable evidence? No, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of I guess that is subjective, right? Because so my thing is
no, it's objective. It's an objective bar. But if it was like a personal experience you had, then yeah, it's not repeatable evidence, right?
Well, okay, that's fair, I guess, but it's an experience that others also have had. Like the experience wasn't unique to me. It was just because of my outcome. I feel like, the God saved me from an incident that I was in like 10 years ago where I could have been unalived.
So you felt like a miracle happened. Yeah, you felt like a miracle happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I mean, yeah, but that, first of all, miracles aren't best explained by the Christian God, right? You could just have a miracle having God. And secondarily, very often miracles, when objectively viewed, they don't even necessitate a God in the first place. It just means we don't have a necessary explanation for it, right? Like, miracles don't even necessitate sentience. But anyway, yeah, if it's based on personal anecdotes, then I don't think there's really anything to argue, because I can't really argue personal anecdotes, you know?
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Well, to your point, you said the miracles can't necessarily be explained, right? So it's is it not logical to say that that explanation that we don't have could be the presence of a God, or because of God rather, that they happen?
That's
Like
true of
we
every proposition. God could be an explanation for everything, but them being a possible explanation is not enough for us to accept that they are an explanation, or an explanation that is sufficiently like acceptable within the context. And like God could explain why my computer works. We just have a better explanation for why my computer works. God could explain why this works. God could explain why this works. We just have better other explanations. And so it's very rare that God is the best explanation for something. And it's especially rare that the Christian God is the best explanation for something. It's actually, I would say, there's basically no claim where the Christian God is the best explanation for.
That's interesting. Why do you believe that?
I mean, it's just a highly specific explanation that like isn't in line with like objective fact or an objectively accepted truth.
Okay, so when you say the Christian God, you make that kind of separation, as opposed to like what would the alternative? Because okay, Christian God, that's a very specific thing, right? So what would be the alternative to the Christian God?
I mean, there are like a philosophical God, so like the greatest possible being, or whatever, and then future like ours. Future like ours works. Sorry to the Marquise. Future like ours works. On a moral standing, I don't argue morals. I agree that abortion is probably wrong. Anyway, I mean, there are a bunch of other conceptions of God. So there's like a Muslim conception of God, there's a Hindu conception of God, there's a Baha'i conception of God, there's a Zoroaster conception of God, etc. And then there's kind of a philosophical conception of God, so like the greatest possible being, or the first cause, or whatever. Like you can add a lot to this. And like the Christian God is the one described in the Bible that it like does all these given actions. And it's not very convincing to me that like, oh, a miracle happened and therefore this being, flooded the whole entire earth, when we have direct counter evidence that the earth was flooded. Like, so we have strong counter evidence of the Christian God because it claims that the Christian God flooded the earth. There's strong counter evidence that it did. So it calls into question the whole entire account.
Okay. Wait, I'm sorry. I want to make sure I'm following that. So okay, you're saying there's strong evidence to the contrary of the flood?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that your claim is that more than likely didn't happen?
We have strong counter. Yeah, like we have no evidence for it, and we have strong counter evidence for it. So we have no real reason to believe that it would happen or did happen in any way, shape, or form.
What's the evidence against it that you found?
Well, so we have evidence where there has been local floods, right? So we can look in the fossil record as to where. Oh my gosh, has Parker been taken down again?
Yeah, I was just trying to get up there because he was
Parker.
And he...
Parker. Damn, Rip Parker. Rip Parker.
Yeah, poor Parker.
Anyway, no, the strong counter evidence. Well, now I should be getting viewership. Rip Parker, but hey, Queens. Anyway, the strong counter evidence is that we can look in the fossil record where there have been floods, and there's never been one point in time where all the fossil record shows a flood.
Okay. All right, but I mean, so we know that the Bible was written. It was an account written by people that claim to have witnessed the things that they saw, right? Like a history book.
Was it? Like, was Genesis written in that way?
I guess Genesis though is kind of from the perspective of let me think about that. Yeah, I guess Genesis isn't. Well, no, I could argue that it was, right. I mean, so these were. It's an account of what happened from the
perspective in Genesis. It's a third-party, non-named, omnipotent narrator.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's not a narrative account.
Okay, so that being the exception.
It's
So
not the
yeah, that's
exception.
fair.
I mean, a huge portion of the Old Testament is written this way.
Yeah, but that's half the Bible, right? That's half the story.
Half can't be an exception, but anyway, like, okay.
So okay, yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think that's a fair point.
So, but the thing is, like, the Bible claims to be a bastion of truth. It is demonstrably false in multiple places. So there's a difficulty there. Also, if you want to send a guest request to disagree, send a guest request. Guests are open. The people shit talking me, you know, Hamas would kill me, blah 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 blah. Why do you not support Israel? Blah 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 blah. Come talk to me. Come send a guest request and talk with me. Anyway,
Absolutely. And I love your
yeah.
perspective on that. I totally agree on and I like that you run these lives.
Thank you. Ain't no actual way. There's just like a 0% chance. No actual way. I should look at my YouTube comments, actually. Lol. Oh my god. That's infuriating. Oh. Oh no. Oh yeah. Okay. Infuriating. Angering. Annoying. How? Like, how are the mass reporters so good at their jobs? They're so good at their jobs. And why are they so good at their jobs? And why are we not so good at our jobs? No, just kidding. I don't mass report. Anyway, please send likes. Please share this with people who follow me, etc. It's actually just infuriating, but we live on. What? Keep sending likes. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. 47 people on here. 51. Thank you. Thank you. What kind of American are you? A good one. Crazy. I agree with ending support for Israel and Ukraine. Not on the basis of American First. I don't think the American First ideology is a good one. But alas. Slable, thank you. Keep sending likes, everyone. 75 people sending likes. Thank you so much. We almost did 1,000 likes. We can hit 10K really, really easily, everyone. Guest requests are on, so you can send a guest request if you disagree with me. A reminder, put feminist on the debate list. I will do that. I do need to do that. Thank you, person who said that. That's like so incredibly infuriating. Rip Will, Rip Will, Rip Will. This is why I'm also live on YouTube. Will ya homie, Slay. Phoenix. Let's see. Thank you. I'm Palestinian. We should take care of our own home instead of worrying about others. I disagree with that ideology. Hey, what's up? What'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
Well, I'm not agnostic atheist. I'm a Christian.
Do you? Okay.
But I was just kind of curious, what you believe in and how you came about it.
Yeah, so I didn't really come about it. From my view, it's the default position. So I'm an agnostic atheist because I observe that there's no evidence for the existence of a god, and therefore I don't believe in one. That's the position we hold on basically every belief. And then we change that once we are presented new information. So that's kind of how I got to it. Is I looked at the information people trying to present. I said, yeah, this isn't really sufficient to change the belief, and so I'm not going to change my default belief. Do you believe you can prove Christianity to be true?
I, it's been proven to me, and I find it to be true. But to go and present it to someone else, I don't think that I can do that honestly.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, yeah. Then I would agree. Yeah, I don't think people have presentable, repeatable information that like justifies a belief or an imposition of a belief, especially.
Yeah, I don't think imposing a belief on anyone is what we should strive to, because a lot of people, I mean, it's not the way to go ahead and I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. I apologize.
You're good. If you're agnostic, could you look into Gnosticism and scientific Gnosticism? Depends what you mean in the context. A prominent heretical movement thought that the world was created and ruled by a lesser divinity, the demiurge, and that Christ was an emissary of the remote divine being, esoteric knowledge of whom enabled the redemption of human spirit. What? Is this scientific, or this is a different theistic view? Anyway,
I actually just came up to share a quick dad joke with you.
sure, what's up?
What do you call a baby owl in the rain?
What?
A moist owlet.
That's funny.
All right. I used to be very pro-Israel, and then I spoke with some friends of mine who live in that area, and I have since changed my mind.
Yay.
So,
Slay.
so I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm gonna go ahead and drop off, but water, always a good thing.
So true. Thank you.
Have yourself a good day.
You too. Okay, let's see. Yeah, of course you did. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to my main. Because it has more followers. We're gonna go back to my main. But y'all, 100 people, are going to come with me to my main. So then we can, like, in the first 2 seconds, ba 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 ba. You know? You know what I mean? Do we understand the plan? Because I just got live access back. Which is infuriating. But whatever. We live the life we need to live. Okay. 3, 2, 1, let's race.
State of Israel. You should look them up.
You know what I want to be able to do? I want to be able to just live. I want to be able to just... I'd really like to just be able to, like, live my life. But let's get moving. I also should look at the YouTube comments. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But you know, what can we hope for? Hi. 4 people on here. Keyboard, you gotta be some like warriors, queens. Thank you so much to the people sending likes. Thank you so much to people sharing. Let's move. I want to get someone disagreeing on here. I want an interesting debate. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave and go to sleep because I need to sleep at some point in my life. But I do also want to debate. But, you know, we live and laugh and love on. Okay. Thank you so much, people sending likes. Burning through that 1,000. Burning through it. Gorgeous to see you all. Sleep is for chumps. I agree. It is 12:30 here, so we live. Okay. Thank you so much for people on the YouTube as well. Very cool. Thank you for being amazing. I try my best, queens. I try. Thank you so much for people sending likes, sharing, slaying. Oh god, do I hate TikTok. I hate what they do to me, what they make me do. Ugh. Why do I hate them? Because they keep taking down my lives. And it's really annoying. I'm annoyed with them. But it's fine. Skincare slay. Skincare slay. Pin your goal so viewers notice it. Also, do send gifts if you can. Did you come out? I watched your late. I just watched your late. Did you come out? Yes, I've been out for a while. I've been out as long as I've been on TikTok, I believe. As best as I can remember. Thank you so much for people sending likes. Comment is gay. Yeah. I think the government should end all support for you. Hilarious. I don't live in your country. Like, I don't really know what support you'd be talking about. I don't receive a whole lot of public benefit. Thank you. Once again, I love when people don't debate me and just send hate. I think it's really funny. I think it's the best strategy. You don't even know what country I'm from. I mean, I'm talking about U.S. support, so I'm assuming you're talking about U.S. support. Thank you so much. Okay, we're moving up. We're moving up in likes. We got 180 people on here. There's surely of 180 people someone that disagrees with me. But even if they're not, of those 180 people, there are people that can be some like warriors, some share warriors, and get the thing moving. Thank you for the love from Sweden. Appreciate. All the wrong moves. Once again, I hate being this guy. Debate me. Anyway. Go home, China. What? Love from London. I live really close to London. Are politicians bought and scared to act? In part, yes. What about illegal? What? Being the B-52s? What? I'm happy my tax money is going to Ukraine and Israel. Come and defend it. Are you wearing eyeliner or you just have great lashes? It seems I just have great lashes. Apparently if you have good skincare, you're not an American. Hilarious. You could pass an American accent, but now that I know, I know. I mean, I do have an American accent, everyone. I did live in America for most of my life. I just also have a F accent and an English accent. Guys, I watched Come From Away today. I am American. I watched Come From Away today. It was so good. I did just say that. So good. I loved it. Oh my goodness. Do your best British accent, guys. I can't do a good British accent. So I'll do for this. I'll do a quick. You're not an American. You not an American and you think you deserve opinion. I am an American. Like, I don't know what you want me to. Do we really need to do this? Like, I need to actually do this on, like, dating platforms. Hey, queens. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I also just happen to also have permanent residency, or not permanent, temporary residency in the UK. I'm not going to open my passport, everyone. I know. Do you want my COVID card as well? Does this have my... This would only have my old one. COVID vaccine. Hilarious. You think I have a fake passport for TikTok? Hilarious. I wish I lived across the pond and not the US. I don't... Shouldn't we be defending Ukraine? I believe we generally should be defending Ukraine, yeah. Hamas bootlicker. What? I don't support Hamas. You Egypts. You incompetent fools. The OGs know you're American. Yeah, because I lived in America when I started doing TikTok. Bro, we don't even know if he supports each group. Yep. Am I moving back to America? Probably. If you claim to be American, act like one. Hopefully you're not a part of the boycotts. Why is it un-American to fight for, like, justice? Why is it un-American to, like, do these things? I actually do think it is un-American to be anti-imperialist. I think being imperialist is a fundamental American value, at least within the past 100 years. We should just change what it means to be American. Right? We should fundamentally change what it means to be American so that it is in line with you know, good values. Is supporting our economy not at all costs. We shouldn't have supported our economy when it meant trading with apartheid South Africa. Stewards of liberty, that's anti-Semitism. Pro-LGBT sides with Hamas. What? Or we can export the freak show to China. What? Either bought into each group propaganda. What? Come send a guest request. I'd love to speak to any of you. Do any of you have faces? Do any of you have, like, faces or voices with which you can speak to me? Bro, if you're mad, go up and debate him. Like, this is so true. Lots of comment warriors going on right now, guys. Lots of keyboard warriors. We love to see it. We love to see the keyboard warriors. The year of the sword. Intriguing. Someone explain. Oh, if someone wants to debate me on here. Oh, wait, no, join the... So if you're watching, you want to debate, we can on Discord. Well, just join debate channel. PC. There we are. Love how no one's taking up for Izzy's. Yeah, no one's debating me, which is sad. I'm not a bot. Then don't act like one. Like, it's just funny. Why do you support 1940? What? What? Like, there's no response to, like, most of these arguments other than, like, you're so divorced from reality that there's no point in, like, engaging with them. You know the O? Oh. Okay. Does anyone know this? Oh. Oh. Oh, girl.
Oh. Like, oh. Oh. Like, right? Right? Oh.
Anyway, sorry. I love her. I find her really funny. I think she's one of the funniest people. But if no one wants to debate me, I'm just gonna sit here. Like, there's also like a what? Like, what? Is anyone here? No, boring. I can't find the actual sound. Americans shouldn't be on the first place because they're thousands of miles away. I'm Christian. Kind of agree, kind of don't agree. I don't think us being far away from something has ever stopped us from, like, interfering with it before. And I don't think it should. Like, if something wrong is going on, we should fix it. We're just, like, on the wrong side of this one, baby. We're just on the wrong side of this one, baby. Supreme Court Justice says Trump immunity will have huge implications. Intriguing. Okay, please don't spam. I learned much about abortion debating listening to Will. Thank you. Pro-choice for the win. Yeah. Can I ask your opinion on something? Sure. Don't sound Christian. You sound like you play for a different team. I'm not Christian. I was reading a comment. And guys, I do play for a different team. Whoop-ha. Whoop-ha. Do you condemn the Columbian? What do I think about the Intifada chants? The term Intifada has an interesting history. It just means an uprising. So does it have, would I use it? No. Do I think it is necessarily violent terrorism? No. Do I think it's a good look? No. So I think it's colloquially not ideal. I think Zionists use notably more horrendous language. And if you actually asked Colombia what they want to see happen, right? If they said, what do you mean by Intifada? They would not say, the type of things that happened in that Intifada. But anyway. Why am I stroking my armpit hair? Because it itched. Because I'm a human. But no, I wouldn't use that term. The American people now know who are controlling there and how evil. I don't like this terminology either. The American people, like, there isn't some secret, like, cabal. Like, this is not helpful. Opinion on England, smoking ban, generally good. Wait, I'm confused. Tel Aviv is LGBTQ capital. First of all, what does an LGBTQ capital mean? But second of all, Israel is not that good for LGBTQ rights, comparative to other Western nations. And third, this has nothing to do with it. Oh my God, wait, greatest debater. He's back, guys. Oh my God, you're back.
Of course.
Welcome
How are
back.
you?
What did we debate on previously?
Pro-choice.
Okay. Have you thought of new arguments for it, or
Yeah, I mean, have you? Because my arguments were really nice.
didn't
So here's
you
the thing.
literally
Agnostic,
wait?
atheist.
Didn't you end the discussion saying, "Oh, I don't know. I'll have to go think about it. Maybe I."
No, you were giving me a headache because you were trying to, like, dodge every single question. Sure, you're doing quite a good job. But I
This
mean,
is like
at the same-
very revisionist history.
I got-
How I
got a
remember
headache
it, like
because you were
I've
trying
been
to
with
dodge
enough.
every
One second,
question.
I've been with like enough like gaslighting males to know like what this feels like. No, I believe you left the discussion conceding, or at least tacitly conceding, because you were like, you said, "Oh, I don't really know."
Nothing is tacit about me. It doesn't work like that. I'm very strong and I'm firm like a pillar of strength.
I don't really want to
So,
hear about your
agnostic
firmness.
atheist. Go
But
ahead.
I said I
Yes,
don't really
I'm a
want to hear about your
Christian.
firmness.
Yep.
But
I'm a Christian.
okay. I don't. Okay.
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 I'm a pro-lifer Christian, right? We could go down this route, but I don't see how you'd be an agnostic atheist, right? This is the worst stance you could possibly have.
How so?
Because being agnostic in regard to your livelihood is not fair to you.
It's an observation of fact, so it has nothing. It doesn't have like a moralistic implication. So I mean, me having like $10 in the bank isn't fair to me either, but it doesn't change the underlying fact. So this is an observation of factual reality and derivative
Actually,
beliefs.
having $10 in the bank is what could make you. It is what could make or break you, right? In the sense that once you're tired of having no money in the bank and you only have $10 in the bank, this is going to be the symmetry breaker that's going to make you a great person.
Do you know what symmetry breaker means?
Yeah, it's like the difference between one or the other.
Yeah, but we typically use it when we're comparing two hypotheticals to prove a principle.
Wait, did you understand even what I just said?
So you said like
Because
it's a symmetry breaker in that if it wasn't there, I would act differently. That's not really what a symmetry breaker
what
looks
I'm
like.
saying is having $10 in the bank can make you more powerful, popular, and fulfill every burden of your dream that you could have, possibly.
Are you
'Cause
sober
that's what it
currently?
takes. Am I sober?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm intoxicated on the truth.
But
So
are you
that's a
like
problem.
genuinely chemically sober?
Yeah, chemically, absolutely.
Okay.
Like,
Cool.
what?
Um Wonderful. So what, like, okay, my position of agnostic atheism is like derivative of observations of reality and factual reality. I don't see how that, like, an observation of factual reality could be fair or unfair to me. It is just a true thing.
So you wouldn't be agnostic.
I am. Agnosticism is a derivative belief of facts of reality.
Yeah, but you hold no position one way or the other.
Regarding one thing, but in order to like make a claim in the first place that I'm agnostic, I would have to have hold a position on my own belief. So agnosticism is a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God. So I'm agnostic as it relates to the proposition of God. I'm not agnostic as it relates to the underlying evidence of a God, right?
Okay, so you're saying there's evidence, but just not enough.
No, I'm saying nothing. Like there is neither sufficient evidence nor have I seen any positive evidence towards especially the Christian God.
Okay, all right.
But what agnostic
Do
means
you
in this
think there's
context
things in
primarily is
life
that okay.
Hang on. So, given that statement, right, which I wouldn't disagree with necessarily, but don't you think there are things in life that are unexplainable?
I haven't seen evidence for unexplainable. I have seen evidence for unexplained. Also, we've talked before. We've had a debate. I'm sure we will have another debate. Stewards of Liberty is coming up. I don't know if I've debated them. So if I can cycle you out, and then
Fair
you're
enough.
more than welcome in like if like they end up being flop. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
All right, slay the day.
Thank you.
I don't know if I've debated Stewards of Liberty. I don't remember. I recognize them. That's mainly because they're saying bullshit in the comments. Oh. See, there we are, a flop. Guest request back up, baby. Greatest debater. Let's keep talking. Or let's see if Stewards of Liberty functions. Is this a technical issue? Hello.
Hey, sorry about that.
Yeah, what'd you send a guest request to disagree on?
So I don't know if you remember my comment just a few seconds ago. You said it was anti-Semitic. I was just curious, what made you say that in the first place?
So let's remember what your comment was. What did you say? In the last 100 years, it's not been American, it's been Jewish?
Yeah, do you know where that comes from? Like, why I would say that?
I think it's what it reads as immediately, and why I call it anti-Semitic is not necessarily your intent, but regarding your impact, is that it reads as America is being controlled by Jewish people, and Jewish people have undue, unknown, underlying conspiratorial power over America, which are classic anti-Semitic tropes that have no place in
Okay.
like the anti-Zionist movement.
You're reading a lot into that. Well, what I was really
I know, but
getting
it's
at
what
is-
it's like a very reasonable reading into it. Like that's what that looks like. You can intend it a different way, use different words then that can't be read that way. But sure, what did you intend with it? And then we can see if that intention is at all reasonable.
So, like, as far as, like, our history goes, I know there's a vast history to know, and I don't know all of it, but just as far as the wars are concerned, prior to the Federal Reserve, we didn't have any big major wars in America. So when you talk about how being anti-imperialist is anti-American, I feel like that's a conflation because you're conflating what's happened since the creation of the Federal Reserve with our constitutional republic, which the only reason I'm still here and not in Croatia or one of my other places that I could have traveled to is because I really believe in the American project as far as our constitution being the best on earth. So when I personally hear of like American, I think of constitutional republic, and I think of going back to the system that we should have had that's kind of been slowly getting taken away from us.
Wait, sorry, can I stop you there?
Sure.
Federal Reserve, Jewish people. Conflating the structure of finance, especially suggesting that our structure of finance and banking leads to forever wars and violence.
Well,
Conflating that with Jewish people and Judaism is anti-Semitic. That is an anti-Semitic trope. That unequivocally anti-Semitic.
That's your opinion.
No, it is a classic anti-Semic trope. There is
the Federal Reserve.
There is absolutely no question about that being an anti-Semitic trope, right? Conflate, especially if you go with this logical structure. Jewish people run the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve causes wars in America. That is blaming the wars that happened in America on Jewish people, which is the most classic anti-Semitic trope ever, and is how every single past harm against Jewish people en masse, right, has been justified.
Okay, what I'm saying is that the influence that's coming in that's affecting our foreign policy has nothing to do with America. It has to do with the tribe that has infiltrated our country. And yes, there are many people who call themselves by that name, who I have love for, who I'm related to, who...
That is still, fine, you have a black friend. Like, this is the black friend argument.
What I'm saying is that you can speak about who, like, for instance, if you speak about America negatively, you and me are from America, right? Should we take that to heart, or should we really try to get to the core of, are they talking about our government and our political structure, or are they talking about the everyday American who just wakes up and tries to feed his family? So, like, I find it kind of sad that that's the one group of people who does have undue influence over a lot of different subjects that we could talk about, and to even point at them as a group, as a collective, and say that there's something wrong there.
But to conflate
those words, when in any other situation, you would not say somebody's anti-American or anti-Christian or anything of their respect.
Wait, sorry, Jews didn't... Sorry, no. This is like such... Okay, first of all, you won't even say the word Jew. But second of all...
I'll say the word Jew. I said it at the beginning.
You commented it. But anyway, the Federal Reserve wasn't founded by Jewish people.
The Federal... Do you know who founded it?
Woodrow Wilson.
No.
I mean, yeah. It was founded under Woodrow Wilson, under his administration directly.
Okay, it's owned by the Rothschilds and the Warburgs.
No, it's not. No, it's not. What the... No, it's just objectively not.
It objectively is.
Wait, okay. No, it's not. Okay, first of all, to say that even if it was the Rothschilds, the fact that a Jewish family owns it, or a Jewish family at certain points in time owns it, is not the same thing as saying Jews own it. Certainly is not the same thing as saying it is a Jewish institution. It is a quasi-governmental private corporation.
Accusation against you. You spoke out against America. I'm speaking out against the collective of Judaism.
No, when I talk about things that are like, when I talk about things that are,
why was I not offended when America
the thing is, first of all, if you, when I said Americanism is this thing, and Americanism is problematic for this reason, imperialism is fundamental to the American spirit, because it is incorporated into anything we would consider fundamental to American constitutionalism and political practice. Right. So it's okay. You can disagree with that. 1 second. No. You can disagree with that. Right. But the difference is.
What were our military actions prior to the last 100 years?
Are you shitting me? Do you know the War of 1812?
Oh, where we went overseas? Enlighten me. I know of.
Wait, you don't know the war? Wait, you don't know the Mexican American War? You don't know the Mexican American War? You don't know the Banana Republics? You don't know the Spanish American War? You don't know the acquisition of the Philippines, the acquisition of Hawaii, the acquisition of...
I understand the conquest of America. That's very well known. I'm not...
You don't think those are wars?
I'm aware of that. Sorry?
You don't think those are wars? You don't think those are wars probably with the highest... Those are wars with probably the highest direct mortality rates, right? The bloody wars that we took over the rest of the West for slaughtered Native Americans and destroyed sovereignty of Mexicans over the area. Shitting me?
But I look at America, we're a nation of immigrants, and the people that did that are far removed from the people that I know.
No, but when you talk about, this is the thing, is your analysis is so wrong for so many reasons. It is anti-Semitic, but it's wrong beyond it being anti-Semitic, right? It's wrong because America isn't more violent in the past 100 years than it was prior. In fact, right, we've acquired less land. You're just wrong. You're just categorically wrong, right? Like, our investment into military as it relates to GDP has been relatively similar. And our engagement in imperialist practices, we were founded on imperialist practices. We tripled our size by imperialist practices, and we now maintain our power by imperialist practices. There's a direct through line, right, from the Revolutionary War into now in imperialist practices. I don't, where's the foundation of the Federal Reserve in, 1912 was it? Is a completely arbitrary argument to be made.
Well, it was a year before World War One, and then we have World War Two. And if you understand what all world wars are working towards, it's something that you don't want to obviously talk about, and that's fine. This is your channel. But at the end of the day,
You're
not
alluding to
looking
things
at
that are
the power
obvious, like they
structure
would
that's
just.
really controlling most of your life because you're scared of being that one word that you just leveled against me. And
No,
it's
you just
sad
are an
because when you
anti-Semite.
really
It has
start
nothing
getting
to.
into
This is
politics,
okay. I'm just gonna go to the point of this is personally offensive to me, right? Like my great grandfather was a Jew at that time, right? And he was a sharecropper. Like
like I said, I have
this
family
is
speak.
bullshit.
Well,
Like
I
this is
know, like
to
I
say
know.
that it is, and I have a deep respect for
But when you
the
talk about
Jewish faith and the Jewish
fundamentals,
people. There is nothing fundamental of the Jewish religion or the Jewish culture that it runs the world. If we look at the fundamentals of the Jewish religion and culture, they are by and large based on egalitarianism, justice, peace, and justice for immigrants. Right? Like
why did they
that
get
is
kicked out of so many countries then?
why did they kicked out? Because of bullshit like you. And they are an entrenched.
No,
You can. So this is the thing. This is the thing.
You're going to
Is
their
why do they
victim
get kicked
narrative
out? No, no,
rather
no.
than engaging in the reality of like Deuteronomy 15:6. You could open your own Bible if you have one and read. Usury is absolutely their means to world domination. It says it right there.
No,
in the
this is.
biblical
I'm
text.
okay. I'm not even gonna like. This is. I'm
And
gonna
so
move
if
on
you
to the next
actually look
person.
at what
But this is insane, and you need to not have a platform. Um, and I'm not gonna speak about this, but basically, I'm actually done with that. This is have Jews been kicked out of so many countries? Because they are an entrenched minority that maintains their culture. That's just objectively why. Like there is a level at which I have to debate people to I have to platform people to debate them. But there's a level at which I cannot in good conscience platform someone spreading as much as that. There is no two sides to this. Right? He is suggesting that there is a conspiracy of Jewish people who are running the world. That is the most fundamentally nonsense anti-Semitic trope in this world, and is disgusting and has absolutely no place anywhere here. Mods, I'm gonna ask you to be more muting. If someone says something as anti-Semitic as, yeah, we're gonna comments. Yeah, let's see. Oh, Zena, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna mod you. Where's my friends? Anyway, it's obviously anti-Semitic. Absolutely disgusting. If someone's saying something anti-Semitic, mute them. You're free to block them as well. But no. So basically, if anyone comes up to you, what I can do is equip y'all with the thing to respond to anti-Semites like this. The reason Jews have been kicked out of so many countries is because they maintain their culture in small enclaves, and they engage in. So it is true that for a huge portion of history, they engaged in banking practices that other people could not engage in. So the Christians and Muslims would not engage in usury in banking. So then what did happen, right? They engaged in usury, then they amassed wealth, and they were an ethnic enclave that maintained their own culture. That is like the easiest conceivable people to demonize. It doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong. It doesn't mean that they're running the world. It just means that when an impoverished, cohesive majority want people to blame and have a material interest in blaming other people and taking their wealth, the Jewish people are the ones who will be targeted for it. Anyway.
Hey, what's up, brother? How are you doing?
I'm going real well. What did you guess we're disagree about?
I 100% disagree with the pro-choice. I think that intentions should be a big factor in something like pro-choice, and I think nowadays we really make it too convenient for people to do disgusting things.
Too convenient. So, like, I don't understand this. Like, I view it as, like, a woman's right. So is it too convenient for me to be able to go get like my teeth pulled, or too convenient for me not to give blood, or too convenient for me not to give my, kidney or whatever? There's nothing to do with convenience here. It's that they have a fundamental right to not give their body to their children.
Okay, so
So
first things
like,
first. Wait. First things first. First things first. First things first, my brother. If you, right, as an adult, right, and this is something that you understand as living this experience in this game of life, is that when you do things, regardless of how free you are to do these things, there are consequences, right? So if someone unalives someone, yes, they can have the chance to get away with it. But to make it something, to make the continuation of life seem like something as a parasite, or something as, oh, they're just dependent on the resources,
I didn't.
so that's why they should be able to have a decision or have a say so. That's the most intellectually dishonest thing you can ever say.
I didn't say either of those things.
You just clearly said your rebuttal to what I said was what? I believe that a human should have rights if they're using its resources. Yes or no?
That wasn't my rebuttal. And also,
That was
that's
your
not that's a
rebuttal.
nonsense statement.
You just said that. You just said a woman should have rights because they should not have to give up their resources. That's what you just said.
No, I didn't. That because statement is not what I said.
Okay, maybe you didn't say because. Just repeat what you said then. Maybe I misheard you.
I mean, I didn't say those words. Or anything close to it. I don't know how you could have misheard me. You just thought you could get away with lying about what I said.
From what I heard you say, that's what you said.
I said it's a fundamental right of a woman to not give her body to someone that she doesn't want to.
How is that a fundamental right?
Self-ownership is a fundamental right necessary of the civil and human right of liberty. So, I mean, I don't see how anything is more fundamental than the right to one's own body. I actually think the right to life is derivative of one's right to life, or one's own body. It's the most basic description of negative rights. So it's the reason that I don't think it's a good government to tie me down and take my organs. I don't think it's a good person to tie me down and use my body in unconsensual ways. It's the basis for consent as a sexual concept. It's the basis for consent as contractual concepts. It's the basis for property claims. It's the basis for basically every type of claim. It's the basis for tort claims. So it's the reason that stabbing me is a bad thing and me stabbing myself maybe isn't a bad thing. It's the reason medical consent is necessary, because I have dominion over my body, and someone taking my body or my bodily resources against my consent, right, against my requisition of those rights, is by and large the bad that the government is trying to protect from.
Okay, perfect. Now you're saying using resources of others, right? Then tell me, why do you have such a problem with the U.S. supporting Israel then?
So, I don't have a unilateral problem with someone giving the other person resources. I have a problem with someone using my resources against my consent. So totally, you didn't actually hear the actual thing that I said, because as I said, the whole entire basis for a legal system is the right to consent to give your resources to someone. That includes having the freedom to consent and give your resources to someone.
Let's look at the word consent, right? That means
Wild take.
That means to grant the ability to, right? So
no, I don't think that's the most accurate. I don't think that's the most.
Brother,
so I'm just gonna say no. Go on.
So first things first, right? What you're saying that a baby is something that can be determined with consent. That's what you're telling me.
No, it's not.
No, that's what you just implied right here. Your assertion was that I should have every right to do something because my body equals my consent. Yes or no?
No.
Oh my God, bro. The semantics you play is crazy, bro. You are literally intellectually dishonest at its finest, bro. People like you don't deserve a platform, bro.
Do you want to understand the thing that I said, or do you want to continue lying about the things that I said?
Go ahead, continue, bro.
I mean, so I said that they should not be forced to allow others to take their resources against their consent. That does not equivocate to them being allowed to do anything they want. You should be able to understand that distinction intuitively. I think there's a really obvious distinction between me being able, like, if I own my body, that means that you can't, like, use my body or take my body or violate my body. But it doesn't mean
Oh
that
no,
I can, sorry, but it
there's
doesn't
a
mean that I
difference.
can use my body to do anything. Two different rights, two different things, you know?
Brother, this is like, this is so, it's so disingenuous on your part. At the end of the day, right? You're saying that your body should not be forced to give resources without your consent. Is yes or no? Is that what you're saying?
By and large, yeah. I should not be forced to give my bodily resources without my consent, but yeah.
Okay, so perfect. Now, where in this, right, do you include also the fact that a woman decided to lay down with another man and do a cause and effect? Wait, hear me out. A cause and effect, right? Because we understand it takes two to tango, right? Your biggest thing is consent.
Sometimes
She
three, love.
consented to letting someone enter semen inside of her, right? Which means what? That there's a possibility, regardless of how low the percentage is or what you do to try and avoid it, like birth control or things of that nature. If that happens, how in any world is it okay to unalive something? In any world.
Yeah, great. So I just don't believe that having intercourse obliges you to give your body to this possible fetus that comes into existence. Um, because I don't think having a child obliges you to give your body to that child. I think this is really intuitive when you ask any type of critical questions about it. When you say, would I want to force a child, would I want to force a mother to give bone marrow to my child, or to her child? Would I want to force a woman to give a kidney to her child? No, I don't think that's typically the government's job because that's not the character of the obligation of parental relations. And so, therefore, we shouldn't, within the womb, also hold this unnecessary arbitrary bar of we should force women to give their body to their children, whereas outside the womb, we typically wouldn't hold it. So we can talk about what type of obligations having intercourse would produce. I actually don't think you're going to be able to describe a consistent type of obligation that having intercourse would produce. We can go down that route. But I think having intercourse alone doesn't produce any type of obligation to a possible future child.
No, I
Because
think
mere
that,
cause
like
and
I said,
effect, sorry,
consequence.
mere cause
Wait,
and
wait.
effect doesn't produce obligations. So it's also an effect of the grandmother's actions that this grandchild comes into existence. It's also the effect of, I don't know, whoever made the malfunctioning condom that this child came into existence. Lots of people caused and affected this child into existence. Mere cause and effect doesn't produce an obligation by and large.
No. Yeah, and let's be quite honest. If I were to unalive someone, regardless of their age, regardless of who they are, at the end of the day, I created a cause and effect. Regardless of how many variables could have been dependent on why I made this decision, at the end of the day, it is immoral and it is wrong. If a woman is out here going to a nightclub every night and sleeping with Tom, Dick, and Harry, and she thinks that, oh, you know what? Since the government allows me to get the right to unalive a child that I know I'm not ready for, even though I knew that it was a possibility. Because it's not like they don't understand that it's a possibility. No, we understand that through circumspect and looking at something from all points of views, it is possible for someone to what? To have a child. It is possible for someone to lead to something. At the end of the day, that is unaliving. Now, this is why I say I genuinely think intentions.
Great. Can I stop you there? I think you're mischaracterizing the role of intention and its relation with criminal law. And you're not actually engaging with like the theoretical framework that I set out. So we can talk about what type of obligations. So like, okay, prima facie, I don't owe my body to anyone. You agree with that. That's why you think it's fine for a great victim to not give her body to her child. because she never consented. She never did anything that you. Yeah, great. I know. So, one second. Great. Let's start there. Prima facie, they don't know anything. So it's on you to justify that non obvious obligation. And you believe that having intercourse with someone with the knowledge that it could create a child justifies a certain type and character of obligation between the mother and the child. Okay? That's non-obvious. Like it's not a priori, it's not obvious that that's true. So I'll ask you the direct question then. What precisely is this obligation? What does she owe the child? Great. So it's any. So do you believe that this mother should be forced? She has this obligation outside the womb as well, right? Because she created this child. Yeah. She has these obligations outside the womb as well, right? Oh yeah, this is what I'm on here. Okay. So do you think that the woman should be forced to give um a kidney to the child if the child will die without it, for example?
Me personally,
What
obviously,
should
I
the
wouldn't
law
say
say?
anyone is, because I say that's a bit different, right? A kidney is like you don't know what the mother has, whether or not she's dependent enough or strong enough to even
Okay, let's
give up
talk
a
about
kidney.
bone marrow. She can give up bone marrow. Let's say it's less dangerous than pregnancy, which bone marrow donations are less dangerous than pregnancy. Do you think that we should force women to give their bone marrow to their children if the child will die without it?
You do understand that there's not one proven case of life due to a woman having herself impregnated with bone marrow, right? There's not one human
No one's
that is
talking about
alive.
self-impregnation. You're not following. Like at one, so the thing is like gish galloping and actively misunderstanding may be beneficial to your rhetoric at one level, but at another level, it just means that you're not actually following what's actually being said. So no one in this conversation ever talked about impregnating a woman with a derivative of a stem cell or of a bone marrow transplant. I don't know how you got that. That's not an argument. That's not what was said. No one suggested that, and it's not relevant to the point. You misunderstood so strongly, and I think you intend to misunderstand because intending to misunderstand tends to benefit you rhetorically. But no one talked about that.
Bone marrow. Like, how am I supposed to know?
Well,
If you
we
just
were
went from
talking about a
kidneys to
bone
bone
marrow transplant to a living post-birth child. That was what I asked. So outside the
No, you said
womb,
kidney. No, you said kidney at first, and then you said bone marrow. Don't make it seem like you didn't just do that. You did. You said kidney, and then you went from kidney to say, actually, instead, what about bone marrow? I don't know where you're coming from when you say, what about bone marrow?
you do because I say a kidney transplant to a
No. Wait, there
I
was no
you do
context.
because
You just said bone
no,
marrow.
but I said a kidney transplant to a post-birth child of this mother. What about a bone marrow transplant?
Okay.
Naturally, you would assume the same context.
No. I didn't assume. I'm not going to
Okay, then
assume
you're
the same
you're
context.
either
I didn't know
dishonest or
what you
dumb. I
meant.
don't know if you want to admit either of those.
You do understand I'm allowed to make mistakes, right? You do
Exactly.
understand that, right? I'm not
But the thing
perfect,
is
right?
like
So if I
the way you
misunderstood
address
you, that
these
happens.
is you graciously accept and move on rather than getting like if you want to say I'm allowed to make mistakes like getting
No,
angry
you
and
just said I purposefully. You said
getting
I
louder
purposefully
and
made
angrier
mistakes.
doesn't make us more amenable to mistakes. I understand you made a mistake. How you deal with mistakes and how I deal with mistakes is you graciously move on. I was just saying that I think you actively misunderstood it because it's a pattern of how your rhetoric works. But if you didn't, fine. Um, you can demonstrate that that's not true by actually engaging with the argument. Obviously, I'm talking about a bone marrow transplant in a out of birth child that will die without it of this mother. Do you believe that it's the role of the government to force a woman to give a bone marrow transplant to their biological
I feel
child?
that if the person that is compatible within the amount of time given to the sentient life, right? Because obviously, that doesn't mean which in under your context, it means what? That the life has a limited amount of time to live unless it has bone marrow donated to it. Yes or no? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's the example. Let's talk about like a degenerative disorder or something like that.
Okay, so let's say in a situation like you're saying, with the same context, the bone marrow, if there's only
You could answer the
really,
question in the first place, but
is it, no, I know what your question is. Are
and
they
you could answer
obligated
it.
to? I feel, right, because I feel like obligation is a strong word because it's different.
Why?
Because obligation is like you need to do this.
Yeah, you
In
need
life,
to
no
continue
one,
giving your body to your child in the womb.
wait. In life, no one needs to give anything.
Do you
But at
believe
the
a
end of the
mother is
day, to
obliged to not
sustain,
abort her child?
wait. The way that our order and design by our creator, right? The way that our body is biologically designed, right? When a child is in the womb, it has no choice but to be dependent until 9 months, until a certain time frame. So regardless of what you're saying, that is completely different. Those two cannot be relative because that's a hypothetical you're bringing in. So that can't be relative because we're talking about something that is actually it is dependent only on the person who created it. It is not dependent on other opportunities of how many people in the world? 7 billion, 8 billion people. They have 8 billion more opportunities to get bone marrow for someone that has the same bone marrow as them. So at the end of the day, this is already something completely different. These two, or have them be relative. You just can't. That was a terrible, terrible analogy.
Yeah, so the hypothetical actually necessitated that the mother was the only one that could give it. If you want to say that the hypothetical is unrealistic, you don't understand like reality. Because I mean, the vast
No, that's
majority of
hypotheticals are
times,
meant to be unrealistic, but under this, there's no relativism in between an abortion and a human who needs bone marrow. It's unrealistic to even think that there's only one person who has the bone marrow that he needs.
it's not.
Unrealistic to think.
It happens like
Because
literally
you're
every
taking
single
account
day.
for how many people in the world are
But
using other people's kidneys that aren't in their family bloodline.
wait,
So you're not
sorry,
making
Gucci,
any
you just don't understand like reality. The vast majority of bone marrow transplants, if you actually ask like a medical doctor, right, they will say the best chance of getting a donor, getting a match for highly genetically specific donations like bone marrow because they're stem cells, because they have a high rate of rejection, is a close family. And if you go further and further away from the family as you go,
majority, remember what you said, vast majority.
yeah, but that means that a huge portion of people do not have any chance of getting a transplant from anyone other than a family match. So it's not saying you can. So the thing is Gucci. The issue here is when we talk about reality is in fact if you have say a week or two to live with about a bone marrow transplant, this is realistic. The reality is within those 2 weeks, you need to find a donor. And within those 2 weeks, they can only test so many people related to your genetics.
Exactly. So now here to answer your question, within those 2 weeks, I say within a week, if the mother can't find anyone else, then I do feel that she is obligated to give up her own bone marrow.
Great. That's fascinating. I love an actual answer to the actual question. Thank you. Great. So you want the government to force women to go down into surgeries that they don't want to consent to. What if that mother has given the child up for adoption? Does the biological mother maintain this obligation?
Like I said, now this is a completely different context, right? Because the mother's already, once you're giving up a kid for adoption, it either means one of two things. One, you can't handle a kid, or two, you don't want the kid.
That's true of abortion as well, BT dubs. But
I mean, I don't know about that one because I think adoption is a bit different. You're at least giving the child a chance to live its life.
But don't you think life begins at conception?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay. So then let's talk about this comparison where the child's dying of degenerative disorder, and the only donor we can find, like this exact same thing, is the biological mother. But she's given it up for adoption. The adoptive mother can't give, no one else can.
Okay,
It's an
and,
adopted
and the
child.
beautiful
Do you
thing,
think we should go back to the biological mother and say, hey, I know we relieved you of all legal duties, but actually, we're going to force you to give your body because you created this child?
so first things first, right? And this is why I
First
say
things first should be an answer and then a justification. I will let you justify. I'd prefer if you answer.
I would say, under the context that she already has shown that she doesn't want the child, right? She should not be obligated because she's already shown that she doesn't want it. Her intentions were very pure from the beginning, that she doesn't want to keep the kid. Now, I feel
But
obligation.
it wasn't that's not from the beginning because she had intercourse and created a child. So you're drawing the line at some point, not at the beginning.
I mean, regardless of the fact, adoption can only really happen once the baby's here. Adoption
Exactly.
can't
So it's
happen
not
if
from the
baby doesn't
beginning.
make it.
It's from at some point.
I wouldn't say. What are you talking? Adoption is completely different from abortion. What are you talking about?
No, I'm not comparing adoption and abortion. I'm comparing the biological mother not giving her body to the child outside the womb to the biological mother not giving her body to the child inside the womb.
So, like I said, those are two different things.
You believe that rights change depending on the location of the child?
100%.
You're giving a fetus more rights than a child outside the womb?
It's equal rights. What do you?
But
what are you talking about,
so
bro?
then what if the same rights apply to the same child and the same mother and the same materials, what's the difference?
Intentions. Like
But
I've been
wait, the
saying
intention
from
is the same. What intention is different?
What do you mean intention is the same? How? If someone's
When
giving
she's
up their
getting an
kid for
abortion,
adoption
when she's getting the
and someone's
abortion.
aborting their child, that's two different intentions.
Wait, so okay, let's go through
You're,
the
not, you're literally contradicting yourself, bro. You're not making any sense.
well, let's go through the timeline because I think you're not making any sense. Actually, I do think you're making sense, and it's just not aligned with reality. So let's go through the lines. When they have intercourse, you think they intend to risk having a child or whatever. Intention is the same. Yeah?
Repeat the question again, bro, because you're moving your hand and your hand is like altering your verbiage.
So, two mothers.
Yes.
Okay. This one will later adopt and then not give to their child, and this one will later have an abortion. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. They both have intercourse, and they both intend to risk having a child. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That gives them an obligation to take care of this child. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Boom. Then they are both pregnant. This one then decides that they cease to have an intention to have a child. Okay. And then say a week later, they go and cut off resources to that child, inducing abortion. This one, after giving birth, the only difference is location, says, I don't want to continue giving resources to this child, so I'm going to give it to adoption. And then a year later, for example, that adoptive parents come and say, hey, do you want to give resources to this child? And they say no. The intention is the same. It's the child just dies earlier in this one.
So you want to see how this is contradictory? Because when you use a word like obligation, when they clearly have a choice, it already proves that it's not an obligation. So you are already, once again, contradicting yourself when you try to bring relativism between an abortion, which is making a decision for the fetus, and bone marrow or kidney, whatever you want to use as a reference of transplant. Those are two completely different things.
But the intention is the same.
No, the intentions are not the same.
They're just
Because if you're
expressed at
giving-
different times.
So, wait, what?
The intention is the exact same. They're just expressed at different times, and it takes longer for the child to die in another one.
Not, brother, it's not.
But it is. In both cases, the mother intends at first to risk having a child, and then changes her intention and says, actually, I don't want this child at all. So then she either gives it up for adoption or she gets an abortion, depending on when she makes that change of intention.
So, yes or no? Did you not say that someone asked the mother if they want to give something up?
I didn't say anyone asked them.
No, you just said the doctor comes to the person who gave up the kid for adoption and said that you're the only one. It's a higher chance that a family relative, yes or no, that's what you said. A family relative is the highest chance of someone finding someone to match their bone marrow. All
Well,
right,
what
now
I
that we're past
specifically
that,
said
the
about
next
this.
thing you
Sorry, were
said,
you
who
asking a
comparing it
question?
to,
Were
who
you
you were
asking a
comparing it to
question, or
was
were
your face.
you asking a question, or were you steamrolling? You asked me a
No, no,
question
no.
about what
You
I
asked me
said.
a question. You
You
first you
asked
said
you were
something, and then
saying,
I put
did
in
you
a
say
question for it.
this? You did say, did you say this? Yeah.
Yeah, I did, and you didn't
Okay,
answer
and
yes or
when you
no.
ask
You
a
said,
question, what do I expect you to let me do?
"Go ahead, explain your reasoning."
I shouldn't have to do that, right? We're not in kindergarten. You know how to have a discussion, and you know what questions mean. So what I actually said was, let's say the only donor we could find was the mother. I didn't say they were talking to anyone. They literally just only could find the donor. Maybe the interaction you're talking about is the adoptive parents come and say, "Hey, Queen, could you give to this fetus?"
That's what I'm referring to, the adoptive parents.
Well, you said doctor, so it
For
wasn't
the
what you were. It
adoptive
wasn't,
parents.
but it wasn't what you were referring to.
Yes, it
Um,
was. I was referring to the surgery for the donation of the bone marrow or the kidney transplant.
um, I mean,
So that's why I
I
said the
didn't say the
doctor asked.
doctor. I said the adoptive parents. Those are two different things. But if we want to ignore that obvious failure, that's fine. Nothing about, like, no portion of intention changes here. At point of adoption, the mother chooses to not want to give any more resources to this child, and then when she's asked by the adoptive parents to give to this child, she continues holding that intention, and then when she doesn't give to the child, she continues holding that intention. Throughout all of here, the intention is the exact same. And also the intention is the exact same once she decides to have an abortion in the ulterior case. Intention throughout
it's not. The intentions are not the same, bro. If the intentions of a mother who's giving up something for adoption is letting something live, for the intentions of someone who decides before the baby even gets a chance to live, that's different. The baby's body is not the human's body.
But you could be.
It's not.
I'm not claiming that.
But you just said that. You said it's dependent upon its resources, so it should have every right because it's its body, regardless of
No, I
whose
didn't
body
say
it
that.
is.
Don't lie.
Yeah, oh my, bro,
Gucci,
the
don't
way
lie.
you are intellectually dishonest is embarrassing, bro.
Wait,
You
but
have
you just flagrantly
111,000
lied.
followers for what?
Wait,
Why
but
do you have 111K, bro? Tell me.
because I'm
By
relatively.
the way, I'm on my backup account. So my main account has 225K, bro. But I genuinely want to know, why do you have 111K and everything you're saying makes no sense? It really doesn't.
Okay, Gucci. So I like to think that my little special quality is that I'm pretty good at calling out liars and recognizing them. But even, why do I do this? I've been in here 3 years. I should have more followers. Let's all be real.
I agree. You
But
should.
anyway, you are lying. I didn't say that they were part of the mother's body. Never said that. You know that.
So what's your reasoning as to why?
Did I,
it's
Gucci?
different?
But like, I don't like talking to liars, especially liars that won't say, "Oh yeah, like, I was wrong about this."
No. Wait. I'm not wrong. I was paraphrasing everything you said into a simple statement. Obviously.
Did I ever say or imply that the fetus was a part of the mother's body?
You imply it whenever you say that it's okay for them to unalive it because it's dependent upon its resources. So once
Do
you
I?
say it's
Do I?
dependent,
Do I though?
you do. If I'm being quite honest, that's your only.
Okay.
reason as to
When
why
I
it's okay.
but I don't imply it when I explicitly repudiate it. So it can't be an implication if I explicitly repudiate it. Right? That's not how implications work. So what I've made extremely clear is I'm not suggesting that this child is a part of the, like, you aren't suggesting that this child is a part of the mother's body if she has an obligation to give her body to it outside the womb. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying that they are one in the same body. We're talking about two individuals and obligations between those two individuals. That's how I've talked about it this whole entire time. The mother owes her body to this other thing. I said that explicitly. There's no way to read that suggesting that the fetus is a part of the mother's body. I'm talking about them as two different entities. You know that. That's how I've talked about them this whole time.
I'm wrong. Then maybe you're not implying that it's only so then go ahead and explain what makes you think because something is dependent on something that it should be unalived.
I don't think that.
You just said that since the mother's body, right, is using
I'm just gonna ask you, take like a 5-second breath, and then be very careful with the descriptions of my arguments that you're making, because I respect that my arguments are complicated. I respect that, and I understand that, and they're hard to paraphrase. But this is going to be boring for the watcher, and you're going to, I think, as you've demonstrated, lose your mind when I say, I didn't say that, when you paraphrase it just flagrantly incorrect. Words matter, and the way that I argue matters. So just take a second. Think about the actual argument that I've made, and then make your critique.
Okay, so based on what you've said so far, that you grant the mother the obligation to unalive the other entity.
I don't think it has an obligation to unalive the other entity. I think it has a right to not give bodily resources such that it does not continue living.
Okay, there we go. You grant the right. So now I must change the word I used. You grant the right to a person to be able to unalive an entity that is within them because it is dependent upon their resources.
Not precisely. I think unalive is an imprecise term. And it's not the right to unalive. It's the same right that we have in relation to everyone else.
I'm just saying unalive for TikTok guidelines because I said.
Yeah, but I don't even think like the K word that you're referencing is even accurate. I think denying resources, like when I don't.
I'm not referring to murder or anything. I'm talking about. I just say unalive because on alive I said abortion before, and I got.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. Cool. What I think it really is not give resources such that it ceases to continue living. Like is the most accurate way to describe it. And what gives that right? The fact that it's her resources. Like,
okay,
the fact that she owns these resources means that she gets the right to not give those resources to someone she doesn't want to.
So let's think about this, right? What do they do to the entity that needs the resources?
Using the abortion pill, they simply cut off those resources and then they expel the entity, typically after the entity has already died.
So basically, what does that mean? When you're taking that pill, in the action of taking that pill, what happens?
The mother stops producing the hormone that leads to nutrients going into the fetus. Those nutrients which are hers. It would be exactly tantamount to me if I donate to a homeless shelter every month and then I just stop donating to that homeless shelter.
A homeless shelter does not relate to a baby.
No, but do you understand? I feel like, okay, this is what actual intellectual dishonesty looks like. I'm making a comparison so that I can help you understand my argument. I'm doing this as a courtesy. I'm doing this as a courtesy to you. No. I'm trying to explain basic concepts to you through analog, because that is the best way to describe them. If you don't want to understand the concepts I'm describing, that's fine. But typically analog is a pretty good teacher. So when I say it's like giving money to a homeless shelter then stopping, what I'm talking about is the principle of they were giving things and now they're not.
Of course, but under that same simile of figurative language you're using like or as to compare two things, right? Yes or no?
On a specific principle, yeah. Compare them on specific principles.
Which means that you're using this simile to justify that it's okay for them to not give their resources the same way.
No, I'm just describing this justificatory argument.
Wait, no. The same way that a man is, no one's forcing the man to give its resources. And when a baby, it's obligated from the mother to give resources.
I don't think you have a clear understanding of either of those terms. Until
she decides to take the action.
Sorry. Obligations, so rights are obligations and obligations are rights, but they're just the opposite side of each other. So I have an obligation to respect your rights, and I have a right to have my obligations respected. I have an obligation to not infringe upon rights you have, and I have a right to not have my obligation, not have my rights infringed upon. So like I don't think like the way you're using these words doesn't line up with how they're used in basically any context or even the intuitive context. But secondarily, when you take the pill, it tells your body to stop sharing resources with this other entity. The only way that me not giving something to someone, that is, if I own something, the only way that it's not it ought to be illegal for me to not give it to someone is if I owe those things to that person. Do we agree with that basic premise?
I can agree with that premise.
Okay.
I can agree with that premise.
So then when we talk about if the mother stops giving her bodily resources to this fetus, the only way that is bad is if she owes those things to that fetus. So then you need to ground the obligation, right?
She does. She owes it to the fetus because the fetus is inside of her and the fetus belongs to her.
That's okay.
That's
That's
a
an
right.
interesting argument. We've gotten to an interesting argument. You believe it is because it is inside, but no, you don't actually believe that because that's true of an SA situation.
How is it? Wait, no.
It's inside of her and it belongs to her.
Bro, like I said, intentions.
Then
is a
wait, then
factor.
when you ground it, you need to bring up all relevant factors that would differentiate it. So when I say you need to describe where this obligation comes from, I should be able to take that justification and then apply it such that I end up with your obligation.
So let me establish my criteria of what I believe should be obligated. Now, in the situation, these are the only times that I think in two situations where a mother shouldn't be obligated. One, SA'd or